So Emily Belle Freeman was at my house this week. We live in Nauvoo, which is a cool place to live because lots of people come here. Lots of people come here. And so it was just a regular Tuesday day, and I'm in the kitchen just got done cleaning my kitchen, and outside, my parents were visiting, my mom was headed to the temple, and she sees in the rearview mirror that Emily Belle Freeman and somebody else was walking past our driveway. So we live right by the visitor center. We're over here by the oxen, and they were going from the visitor center to the Sarah Granger Kimball home. And my mom, this is an exaggeration and not, my mom shoves my Emma, my 10-year-old, out of the car and is like, "That's Emily Belle Freeman!" And she gazelle leaps out of the car and yells, "I'm an Inkling!" Because Inklings is Emily's Christian study group that she sends newsletters out once a week, and my mom does that. And so she cheetah sprints over to her, my mom does, and starts talking to her. And as she's going over there, she tells my Emma, "Go inside and tell Becca that Emily Belle Freeman's here." And so Emma knows who she is because she knows that I watch Don't Miss This or listen to it while I'm working. And she, sometimes we'll have I'll show them parts of clips with Emily and David. And so Emma knows that I would be excited about her. So she comes in, and I'm still in the kitchen, and she goes, "Emily Belle Freeman's outside. Grandma wants me to tell you that Emily Belle Freeman's outside."
Are you hungry, Emma?
Okay, I'm making a video, okay? And so I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. Amazing. Of course she is amazing. A month ago, I ordered 2 different things, and I even made an unboxing video that I still haven't posted because I haven't put the things on my website yet. And so I didn't want to show something and then be "But you can't get it, sorry." Can you stop me swinging, please? Thanks.
I'll just sit
And so one of the things was this bracelet, and it says "Send It" on it. And I have 2 different ones, one that has "Send It" in a pretty cursive, and then another one is in bold because it's you're yelling, "Send it!" And "Send It" is the young people say it, but I love the idea of it. And when they say it, I'm always yes. And that's how I feel about how David would have gone at Goliath, or how we should go out our own temptations or our weaknesses, where just go for it with all that you are. And so I had one of them made, and I was thinking, I'd like to send this to Emily. I think she would like it, but I'm literally the worst at post office. Anything that has to do with the post office, I'm terrible at it. And so I hadn't gotten to sending it to her yet. And so when my Emma came inside and told me that she was outside, I was like, "Oh, here she is. I will just grab it. Please stop me swinging." And so I just grab it, and then I walk outside and we talk for a minute. And so it's Emily and her daughter Grace, and she goes, "This is my daughter." And I was like, "Are you Grace?" And she's like, "Yeah." And we're like, "Oh my gosh," because Emily talks about Grace all the time because she loves her so much. Of course she does. She's her daughter, but also Grace is amazing.
Mom, give it.
She's talked about, Emily, you get it underneath right here. Emily's talked about how Grace has a podcast, and she does a live Instagram, whatever, viewing post, whatever it is. And then they do the do the audio for it and put it on like Spotify and all the things.
Oh, I like that
Podcasts. Just open it up. You can open it up by yourself. But I just hadn't gotten to listening to it until like they talked to me about it, and she's like, Grace is like, it's called Why We Stay. And I was like, oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding. Like, I've wanted to like put it out there that like, if you feel like everybody's leaving, because it feels like a lot of people are having faith crises right now. And I just like, I feel so like heartbroken for those people. And also for the people who are not leaving, I want to just say, I'm not leaving. Like, if you think that everybody's leaving, you can know that I'm not leaving, and I'm never going to leave. And so when she said that it was called, stop rocking. When she said that it was called Why We Stay, I was like, oh my gosh, like why we stay in the church, why we stay with Jesus. And so I've started listening to it, and it is so awesome. It's her and two other guys, and they're just talking, like they had All In April and Miracle May, and it's just incredible. Anyway, and so we're talking for a minute, and they're like, well, we're walking down to the Sarah Granger Kimball building. Do you want to come with us? And we're like, of course we do. And so we walk down with them, and like I give Emily the bracelet, and like I'm so glad that I could, because I don't know, because I wanted to, you know, I thought that she would appreciate it. And then we were in the Sarah Granger Kimball building, or home, and it was wonderful to just be there. Like, I don't know, like we talked about how the thing that stood out to me the most was that we talked about how Sarah Granger Kimball and her friend Martha, Sarah had money and Martha knew how to sew. And so they were talking about helping the men at the temple, and and one of them could pay for the fabric, and one of them could sew to make new shirts for the men at the temple. And to me, it was that the Lord he wasn't mad at Sarah because she didn't know how to sew, and he wasn't mad at Martha because she didn't have money. He was excited and used both of them. Hey, that was mean. Say I'm sorry to him.
I'm sorry, Rita.
And
What are you signing this to?
I'm gonna put it on mine.
What?
And he was excited for them and used what they had and what they knew. And I feel like as women, we're really hard on ourselves about how we're not doing enough, and how like we have so much expected of us. And we do have a lot expected of us. And I feel like we are starting to stand up for that and say something about that, about how those expectations are ridiculous. But that the Lord knew the talents and the skills, and that we can do that too. We don't have to feel bad about whatever we don't have and whatever we can't do. We can know that the Lord is celebrating the things that we do, that we can do, and wants that to be our offering. And we don't have to feel bad about our offering, because it is acceptable to him. Anyway, and Emily talked about how she loved this window and she posted about it. It's the window that in her post that she tagged me in, and my mom, that she loves it because that was where Sarah would have spent her time like cooking, and she could see the temple from that window, and that it was a priority. And she loved the Lord, and she loved the temple, and anyway, so it was cool to hear about that. And so it was just a really cool experience, and I'm thankful that it happened. And I kind of spent the whole rest of the day like reeling, like we would do other things, and in my mind it was I cannot believe that just happened because it was such a sweet. Yes, I can peel it because it was just such a sweet experience.
No. I was giving it to you.
And I definitely know that it was guided by the Lord. It didn't have to happen. She was here a couple years ago and I didn't see her. But that one was. And I'm thankful for like a Lord that loves me and my mom.
Peel it.
And I don't know if it was beneficial to Emily or Grace or not, but it was to me. Okay.